Welcome to All Saints Catholic School Key Stage 4 Subject Information Presentation on English Language and English Literature. For English Language as well as English Literature, the exam board that we follow is AQA. The exam code for English Language is 8700. Looking at the specification details, AQA GCSE English language is split between two papers, each weighing 50%. In paper 1, it is split into two sections, with section A being unseen literature fiction text and section B descriptive or narrative writing. As for paper 2, section A is one non-fiction and one literary non-fiction text, and section B students having to write to present a point of view. The total examination time for both papers is 1 hour and 45 minutes. The AQA assessment objectives for English language are as follows. AO1. This is where students have to identify and understand explicit and implicit information and ideas, where they are selecting and synthesizing evidence from different texts. When they're looking at text, they are also expected to explain, comment, and analyze how writers use language and structure to achieve effects and influence readers using relevant subject terminology, and that's AO2. As for AO3, students are then expected to compare writers' ideas and perspectives, as well as how these are conveyed across two or more texts. When looking at AO4, students will be expected to evaluate text critically and support this with appropriate textual references. AO5 is where students have to demonstrate the ability to communicate clearly, effectively, and imaginatively, adapting tone, style, and register for different purposes. They should also organize information and ideas using structural and grammatical features. And finally, for AO6, students will need to use a range of vocabulary and sentence structures for clarity, purpose, and effect, with accurate spelling and punctuation. English literature, the exam board is equally the same, but the exam code is 8702. Looking at the specification details, just like English language, the paper is split between two, paper 1 and paper 2. However, the difference is that paper 1 for this paper is 40% and paper 2 weighs 60%. The timings also differ. In section A, students learn about Shakespeare's text, Romeo and Juliet, and section B, they will be looking at 19th century prose, and that's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. For paper 2, for section A, students also learn about modern text, and the text that we study is an Inspector Calls. And section B is where students learn about poems from a cluster where they have to study poems ranging from traditional to modern poems on the theme of love and relationships. And finally, section C is where students are expected to analyze unseen poetry. The time for paper A is 1 hour, paper 1 is 1 hour 45 minutes, and paper 2 is 2 hours 15 minutes. That AO1 is where students are expected to read, understand, and respond to text, where students should be able to maintain a critical style and develop an informed personal response. Students are also expected to use textual references, including quotations, to support and illustrate interpretations. As for AO2, students are expected to analyze the language, the form and structure used by a writer to create meanings and effects, using relevant subject terminology where appropriate. AO3 is where students show understanding of the relationships between text and the context in which they are written. And finally, AO4 is where students use a range of vocabulary and sentence structures for clarity, purpose, and effect, with accurate spelling and punctuation. Please find in front of you on the two tables the assessment percentages weighting of both papers. So language has got 6 AOs and literature has got 4 AOs, and this should give you a clear idea which AO weighs more than the other in the exam. Typical lessons include activities like Take 10, recalling, debates, research, class discussions, pre-reading tasks, essay writing, class reading, and annotation of texts. Students thoroughly enjoy English at GCSE, and some of the quotes here clearly convey this message. One of the quotes says, "Lessons are engaging and the quality of resources are really good, allowing us to progress in the subject. What I enjoy the most is the discussions we have in class from the teaching of the text that can be placed in real-life contexts." Another student said that the support we get in class and from the teachers are excellent, building confidence in us to prepare for the exams. So these are very telling statements which clearly show our students enjoy English at GCSE. There are many pathways that you can that studying English language and literature will lead on to. One being journalism, law, public relations, media and entertainment, advertising, publishing, interpreting, teaching, tourism industry, and international relations, and the list is inexhaustive. Finally, there are a number of resources that students can find online, but here are just a few that we have found really useful and relevant to the course. Please feel free, if you've got any questions or concerns regarding the course, to email me on the email below. Thank you for listening.